What up, though? Your boy Meech, aka the Sillage Saint. Hope everyone's doing well. Time for another fragrance video, and this is going to be a fragrance rotation video where I break down the fragrances that I wore in a given week. In this video, we're going to talk about the fragrances that I wore the week of Sunday, January 5th, 2025, the first full week of 2025. Figured it would be a great time to do a fragrance rotation video. I'm still of the belief that I probably won't do these rotations weekly like some content creators do. I'll probably just do them periodically when I feel like the rotation is good, or when I wear fragrances that maybe I haven't talked about on my channel in a while, or fragrances that are new. I really like to do rotation videos when I'm wearing some new fragrances. So in this video, we have 10 fragrances to discuss. I doubled up on fragrances a few days, something I plan on doing a lot more in 2025, just to get my hands on more fragrances, wearing more fragrances in a given year. I'm going to try to, kind of wear a fragrance during the day and maybe one in the evening. I also have a fragrance of the month, which will get one wearing per week in the given month that is selected. So that fragrance for January will be featured in this video, plus 9 others. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, starting the week off on Sunday, I put on the fragrance because I was planning to go somewhere, and those plans fell through. But hey, I was still smelling good, even with the plans falling through. On Sunday, I went with this decant that I have of Grand Soir by Mason Francis Kirkjohn. And this is a fragrance the last couple of years, Christmas of 2022 and 23, this was my Christmas scent of the day. This past Christmas, I was in Florida, so I was in a warmer weather climate, so I did not wear Grand Soir. So this is my first wearing of the fragrance during this cold weather season. As you guys know, if you're familiar with this fragrance, this is an amber dominant fragrance. Vanilla plays a great supporting role in the scent profile. It's pretty linear. It's pretty much amber and vanilla, but it is a great smelling fragrance. I enjoy wearing it on Sunday. It definitely lasts a long time. Again, this is Grand Soir by Mason Francis Kirkjohn, and it was my wear on Sunday. All right, switching gears to Monday, I wore a fragrance that has been the talk of the town very early in 2025 in Fragcom. I recently posted a first impressions review on this fragrance. On Monday, I wore the brand new Dior Homme Parfum 2025. And this is a fragrance, again, the talk of the town right now in Fragcom. And honestly, as someone who is a big fan of Iris, I actually like this fragrance. I went in with tempered expectations, though. I did not come in expecting this to be, as good as Dior Homme Parfum, the original version of that fragrance, which is absolutely a classic. I was going in, again, just wanting a nice smelling iris-centric fragrance, and that's what this is. You do get iris at the top, but it's more kind of like the iris that you might get in a fragrance like Armani Code Parfum, for example. And then as this dries down, it becomes more of an ambery, patchouli-based fragrance. You get this chocolatey patchouli. You get this amber vibe that gives us a sweetness that is kind of reminiscent to me of Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male or Afnan 9 p.m. It has this underlining like sweetness that you get with the fragrance. I got about 6 hours in my wearing experience from what I recall. I like this fragrance. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10 in my first impressions review, and after giving it a full wearing, I still feel the same way. I still feel it's like an 8.5 out of 10 type of fragrance. So on Monday, again, I went with Dior Homme Parfum 2025. All right, on Tuesday, I doubled up on fragrances during the day. I went with the fragrance that I've had for quite some time. I picked up from my local rack store, and I actually really, really like this. On Tuesday, I wore Mercedes-Benz for Men EDT. This is just the original, EDT for Men. And this is a fragrance that is fresh, clean. There's a violet leaf note in this fragrance. That's the note that this fragrance is kind of centered around. This kind of reminds you of like a fresher, cleaner version of a fragrance like Dior Fahrenheit. It has kind of like that vibe. There's a little bit of the kind of gasoline, petroleum vibe that Violet Leaf gives you, but it's not overpowering or dominant in any way. For the most part, this is a fresh, clean fragrance, citric, a bit woody, aromatic. That violet leaf also gives this kind of a watery type of vibe. This lasts about 4 to 6 hours, which is good with me. I knew I was going to be putting on a fragrance in the evening, but Tuesday during the day, I went with Mercedes-Benz EDT for Men. All right, I recently posted a video where I ranked 13 fragrances from the House of Fragrance World, and on Tuesday evening, I wore a fragrance that was top 5 on that list. I went with Supreme L'Homme Extreme, and again, this is by Fragrance World. If you can't guess by the way this bottle looks, this is a clone of L'Homme Ideal Extreme by Guerlain, and I paid under $25 for this fragrance on Amazon. And this is so good. You get this sweet plum mixed with that almond accord. You get some additional notes in here like tobacco and leather, just making this kind of more of a grown man's fragrance, but it also has a bit of sex appeal and kind of a bit of a playful vibe with the sweetness that you get from this fragrance. I'm a huge fan of the L'Homme Ideal line by Guerlain. I have the EDT, the EDP. I also have Platine Privé, and I have this clone of Extreme. It is very, very good. I'm a big fan of this fragrance. It was my wear on Tuesday evening. Supreme L'Homme Extreme by Fragrance World. All right, shifting gears to Wednesday, another day where I doubled up on fragrances. During the day on Wednesday, I went with Polo Blue Parfum by Ralph Lauren, and this is a fragrance that I picked up, this 40 ml bottle. I bought this at Burlington. I was shopping during the holidays, and I got this for like $21. This is a fragrance that is a blue fragrance, but it has a lot of green aspects to this fragrance. I get a lot of aromatics with this fragrance. I get a bit of earthiness on my skin with this fragrance. So I like the fact that even though this is kind of like a fresh, clean fragrance, it does give you a bit of that shower gel type of vibe. It differs from other blue fragrances with those green and earthy aspects. I actually like this fragrance a lot. Like a lot of the Polo fragrances by Ralph Lauren, it doesn't last very long. But again, another scenario where I knew I would be putting on a fragrance during the evening. So on Wednesday during the day, I definitely enjoyed Polo Blue Parfum by Ralph Lauren. All right, Wednesday evening, I wore my fragrance of the month. I selected this fragrance at the beginning of January, and it gets at least one wearing every week in the month. That fragrance comes from the House of Yves Saint Laurent. This is YSL Myself Eau de Parfum. I've smelled this fragrance so many times and had never pulled the trigger on it. Then I finally got it as a Christmas gift for Christmas. So I'm definitely glad that I have it. I think that it smells nice. It's a citric, white floral fragrance. You get this orange blossom that really stands out in the fragrance. The other florals kind of give you like this soapy, clean type of vibe, and Ambroxan is in here as well to give this some additional push. I know this was a fragrance that finished in the top 10 on Fragranica's Best Men's Fragrances in 2024. So this definitely is one that's popular. I definitely understand why this has mass appeal. Could be a daily driver for someone, a signature scent. I know people who aren't necessarily collectors, who just have a few fragrances or a handful of fragrances that they wear day to day. They have this one in their collection. So this definitely has appeal for the masses. I wore it on Wednesday evening. This is YSL Myself Eau de Parfum. All right, Thursday was the last day of the week that I doubled up on fragrances, and during the day on Thursday, kind of went with another fragrance that has those white floral vibes. This is Mouge Affection by Milestone Perfumes. This is a $15 rack store find that is a clone of Reflection Man by Amouage, and I really like the way this fragrance smells. It does not smell like a $15 fragrance. You do get a little bit of citrus, but for the most part, you get a lot of florals with this fragrance, and you get this woody vibe with the fragrance as well. Reflection Man is actually on my list of fragrances to buy in 2025. I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of white floral fragrances. They can be hit or miss for me, but the Reflection Man DNA is definitely one that I like. So I definitely want to get that fragrance in my collection here in 2025. But until I do, Mouge Affection is definitely a good stopgap. I'm not saying it has the same quality as an Amouage fragrance, but it does smell nice. It gives me about 4 to 6 hours in the longevity department, which you can't really, turn your nose up at for a $15 fragrance. It smells nice. Milestone Perfumes did their thing with this one. I like it a lot. Wore it during the day on Thursday. Mouge Affection. All right, and during the evening on Thursday, I went with another rack store pickup. This one is a clone of Parfums de Marly's Pegasus. This is Contraferos Royal Edition, and this is by Camara Perfumes. I actually layered this. I have a fragrance oil of Pegasus Exclusive. I actually have the fragrance oil, and I put a couple dabs of oil around my neck, kind of post points under my earlobe, and then I kind of put the fragrance, spray the fragrance around that. So I was hanging out with my girlfriend and she smelled this fragrance. She asked me what I was wearing and I told her, and she said, okay. And usually when I get the okay from her, if it's not followed by a, oh, that smells nice, or I like that one, that usually means that she's not a big fan of the scent profile. And I can understand why. This definitely is kind of an acquired taste because this kind of has that bitter almond note in it, kind of like that metallic feel that may be off-putting for some. But where I really like this fragrance, or where this shines to me, is the dry down. You get more of the vanillic aspects of the fragrance. You get that creamy sandalwood as well. So I like the scent DNA. But what I will say is I like the way Pegasus Exclusive smells better. And for that reason, that's another fragrance that is on my list to own here in 2025. But again, until I get it, I'm going to roll with the Pegasus clone. I like Contraferos Royal Edition. It was my wear on Thursday evening. All right, on Friday, it was kind of just a chill day, wrapping up the work week. I wanted to throw on a fragrance that I received the fragrance on Black Friday, had given it a couple wears, but I have been itching to wear this fragrance again because I absolutely love the fragrance. It's slowly but surely climbing up the ranks, and I think it is officially going to be a signature scent for me. We are talking about Bois Imperial by Essential Parfums. I'm trying to get that into focus. There we go. This is a fragrance that I am really, really a big fan of. This is a woody fragrance. You get some spice, you get vetiver, maybe a little bit of an aromatic type of vibe, but this is really kind of like a grown man scent. Of course, you guys know, if you're familiar with Bois Imperial, it is perfumed by Quentin Biche, who also perfumed Ganymede, and this fragrance definitely has some similarities to Ganymede, kind of with that kind of salty, rock salty, mineralic type of vibe. But I really like this fragrance. This fragrance is a strong performing fragrance. I am talking about 8+ hours, 10 hours even in the longevity department. And for it to be kind of like a fresh woody scent, that is very, very impressive. So this is one of those ones that along with a handful of others is definitely going to be a signature scent for me going forward here in 2025. I'm a big fan of this one. Wore it on Friday. This is Bois Imperial by Essential Parfums. All right, and to wrap the week up on Saturday, I pretty much stayed in the house all day. I did not leave the house. I watched some movies. I watched some NFL playoffs. But the fragrance that I put on during the day was another one of those fragrance world bangers. This is Hardwood Pause from the house of Fragrance World. And it's so crazy. I paid $18 for this fragrance on Amazon, and my girlfriend compliments this fragrance like crazy. And you spend hundreds of dollars on fragrances, and it's the one that's under $20 that gets all the attention, which is kind of crazy. But it does smell nice. I shared a funny story about this fragrance. If you want to go back and watch my Fragrance World ranking video, where I share the funny story about Hardwood. But this fragrance does smell nice. It's very wood forward, as you would anticipate. I hearken it to like smelling like kind of foresty or almost like tree-like, but then it has like this underlying sweetness. I was really surprised that I got like 8 hours in my wearing experience with this fragrance. I was getting whiffs throughout the day, and I was really surprised by how well it performs, because I've worn it in the past and kind of used it as a layering fragrance. But this fragrance on its own can stand, and it is a nice smelling fragrance. Despite the name, it does smell good. This is Hardwood by Fragrance World, and it was my wear on Saturday. Well, there you have it, guys. My fragrance rotation for the week of January 5th, 2025. 10 fragrances that I really enjoy wearing. I would love to hear about the fragrances that you wore during the week. Feel free to throw those in the comments section. Be sure to check out my social media for more. Please like and subscribe on whatever social media platform you're watching this on. That will be greatly appreciated. We just hit 500 subs on my YouTube channel, and I am so appreciative of that. I really appreciate you guys taking out the time out your busy days, your busy schedules to watch whatever I'm jabbering about when it comes to fragrances on my YouTube channel. Again, greatly appreciate it. Once again, your boy Meech, aka the Sillage Saint. Until next time, take care. Peace.